Good morning again. Okay, so Sunday morning, day 7, and well, I told you last night that I had given in and eaten some food in the evening. Not a lot, and nothing off the keto diet, but apparently it was enough. I'm up to 168.4, so I did, in fact, move the needle on the scale, just sort of in the wrong direction. So, if I can keep my self control today, then I should be able to end the first week with a net loss of 2 pounds, which is fine as long as I can keep that going. But we're not going to jump that far ahead and get into toxic thoughts. We're just going to stay where we are today and focus on getting through today. One day at a time, right? Sometimes it's 1 minute at a time. And hopefully, lunch is fine. I can have the bologna and the Swiss cheese and everything again on the salad. And I just have to make that the end of it. Now, I do typically after that have some calories left. I have everything left except carbs. So if I get snacky, if I can find something that doesn't have a lot of calories, doesn't have any carbs, and maybe has some protein in it, see if I can figure out what that is that fits with what I have in the house here. It may just be a hard-boiled egg, but whatever the case may be, we'll try that today if the craving hits, and see if it doesn't help. I did drink a lot yesterday, so I know it wasn't, they say that if you get hungry, take a drink first because usually you're dehydrated. But I drank a lot yesterday, so I don't think it was that. I know that the smell of the oatmeal tipped me over the edge because that really smelled good. And of course, it's like maple and brown sugar flavored oatmeal, so that sugar is my cocaine. So, yeah, and especially when I'm not having it, yeah. I know how good it is, yeah. Everything in my body wants it. So, in fact, I used to think I was an addict, a food addict. I should show you this. My sister took this course for food addicts, and I took the quiz, and I sort of fit the criteria for a food addict. But I got this book, Food Addicts Anonymous, and I read it, and I followed the diet for a while. The diet actually wasn't hard at all. It did not take you completely off of carbs, but it told you exactly, you were measuring things with measuring cups and scales all the time, every single meal, and you had to have it this meal at this time, this meal a couple hours later. It told you when to eat and what to eat. It was fine, but you only got on the scale once a month. That was part of the commitments you made when you did it, was you were only going to get on the scale once a month. And it's part of my nature that I have treat days. I have days where, my thoughts are, if I'm going to be on this diet all the time, and think I'm never, ever going to have sugar again, I don't know if I could make that. So I liked Noom because you could have a treat day from time to time. Now, I had to quit Noom because their treat days came way too often for me, and I would take way too much advantage of them. And so I was undoing all of my progress. But I thought, don't have sugar every day. Have it on a holiday, have it on a celebration like somebody's birthday or a wedding, have the piece of cake and ice cream or whatever. Have it on your birthday or your anniversary, and just have it on, make it something that's part of celebrating like a special occasion, not an everyday thing. I think we are bombarded with images and commercials of people having this stuff. You know, you have to have dessert after dinner every night. No, you really don't. Um, and so I thought by making it something that you just have on special occasions, um, that would help. So, and that's what I did, and I actually got, I mean, I said I could count on my one hand how many times I've been below 160 pounds. And one of those times was when I was doing the Food Addicts plan. Um, but it was hard to stick with. Again, it was the holidays that sabotaged me. I was down to 156, and it was the beginning of December. And after the holidays, everything went to pot because it was the holidays, and I was allowed to have sugar, and I was allowed to have sugar more than just on Christmas. I mean, there was Christmas Eve dinner, there was Boxing Day, there was New Year's, and then my birthday follows very soon after in January. And so I just thought, well, why go on a diet for 3 weeks when I'm just going to have it again? So I just went nuts for a month. And then it was Valentine's Day. And usually around Valentine's Day, that's Lent, and I can sort of rein myself in. But for whatever reason, that didn't happen. And I stopped doing that diet. Well, I tried to keep to it from time to time, and it really did seem like I was eating a lot of food. But like I said, it was working, so... but I fell off the wagon, and I abandoned it because I didn't like getting on the scale once a month. If I was going to stick with it, if I was going to stick with the diet, I needed to see a little bit of progress every day. Because it's hard for me to stick with it every day. And so Noom had me on the scale every day. That worked, except for the days when I would go backwards and then I would lose all hope and think, what's the point? And fall into this toxic circle or spiral of, what's the point? You can try it, but it's just going to fail again. And it took me a long time to get my head right. I had to get my head right before I could start again. And that would take a long time. And summers were especially bad because ice cream is like my pizza and ice cream. It's like I'm a teenager. I've never gotten past those are my two favorite foods. So I could have pizza and ice cream all summer long, and by the end of the summer, yeah, I would have to reckon with what I looked like in the fall. Anyway, I've gotten off on a thing, and I really just wanted to get it out there. I screwed up. I know I have. I didn't think it was going to be that bad, but it's actually not. I mean, it's not that bad that I've lost all progress. And sure, maybe it was 3 steps forward and 2 steps back instead of just 1. But here we are. I have another shot today. Here is hoping I can hold it together and remember that it's self-control. And it does feel like it's bigger than me because sugar really does, it lights me up in all kinds of ways. I love it. I could eat it until I make myself sick. I guess I kind of have. Even though I'm not physically ill right now, this isn't a healthy body. And so I have to face the music. This is where I am, and I need to get it back. If I don't get it back tonight, I'm worried that I'm going to fall off, and it's only been a week. So here's to getting it back and trying again and trying something to see if it works. Try something else to see if it works. Instead of having sausages in a wrap in the evening, maybe just have one hard-boiled egg and a glass of water and see if that can be enough and not trigger, because again, these are coming from places of genuine hunger, where my stomach is actually feeling empty. It's not just craving. Although I want to satisfy it with sugar, let's see if I can avoid doing that tonight. So that's me for right now. It's going to be a challenge because we have a memorial service to go to today, and I know there are going to be light refreshments after. If we can just go and come home, I should be fine. If we go downstairs to where the light refreshments are, hopefully my husband can help me to make the right choices. Because sometimes I need some extra help or some outside help. So I will check in later, let you know how it's going. And, oh, by the way, yes, in case you're curious, yes, in fact, I am wearing a sweatshirt, and yesterday I was wearing a tank top. We had that storm last night, and although it's a beautiful day outside, there you can see it's a beautiful day outside, it's windy, and the temperature's dropped by about 20 degrees. It's like in the 50s or 60s right now. So, yay for that. I love cool weather. Last night, it's hilarious. I was sitting out here having hot flashes, wearing a tank top and shorts, and now I'm comfortable in a sweatshirt, sweatpants, socks, and warm, fuzzy I call them muffins, but they're not muffins. They're slippers on my feet. So, anyway, that's weather in Pennsylvania. And the good news is it's supposed to stay this way all week. So, yay, get a little bit of relief from our hot 70-ish temperatures with humidity that I can't even take. But that's another story. So I'm signing off for now. I'll check in later. Okay, hello again. So it's now about 5 o'clock. I'm just about to go give the dogs some food, their dinner. I had lunch. Well, the Lebanese bologna is gone because I ate what was not left of it. I left like a couple of slices and my husband finished it. So thank goodness that's gone because that was a serious weakness and I needed that to be gone. We just got back from the memorial a little bit ago. We were going to go downstairs. I asked my husband to help me not eat anything I shouldn't while we were there. We were going to go downstairs, and then we saw how many people were down there. We were like, no, we're not going downstairs. So we didn't, so it wasn't a problem anyway. I came home, and I was feeling a little bit of something hungry. So I had, about 5 minutes ago, I had a hard-boiled egg, because it has 0 carbs in it, but it has protein, and it has calories that I'm allowed. So, and I haven't had much water today, so I am drinking as much as I can drink without, making myself sick. Drinking, had the egg, drinking through the 20 minutes that you're supposed to wait after you have something to eat so that your body can signal that you've eaten something and you shouldn't be hungry anymore. So, hoping that works. Still optimistic for today. There's only a couple of hours left. Well, There's like 5 hours left in the day before I would normally go to bed, in which case, I'm not going to eat anything anyway. So here's for holding out for 5 hours. See you later. If there's anything else to talk about, I will. Otherwise, this is me signing off for today. And I'll check in with you guys again tomorrow.